going on, guys? We are Tottenham TV here, and we are back with another match review. We beat Olympiakos 4-2 on a Tuesday night in the Champions League under the lights of the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. It was an absolutely fantastic night at the end of the day. It didn't start out that way, but we got there in the end. Obviously, it was Jose Mourinho's Jose. I'm getting it this time. People in the comments below. I know he's from Portugal. He's not from Spain. All right, I get it. Jose Mourinho's first home game in charge of Tottenham in the Champions League. It was a night of mixed emotions, I think, for most fans. And there were Pochettino flags at the ground that the fans were displaying. But I think the fans are starting to get on side. I think in the marketplace before the game, Jose Mourinho, there was some songs being sung for him. And I think it's been an emotional week for Tottenham fans, having lost their manager, much loved manager of 5.5 years. But I think there's been a general acceptance now that Mourinho could be the right man to get us over the line and give us the success that we've deserved, that this squad has deserved over the past 5 years. And maybe Pochettino could one day come back to manage Tottenham. Maybe if Levy's not there anymore, we can always hold out that hope that he could one day come back with an amazing return. He's always going to be welcome back at Tottenham. And if he goes away to some big clubs and wins some trophies and can come back a better manager potentially. But enough about Pochettino. Let's talk about the game. And obviously, we saw the lineup, and very unlike Pochettino, near unchanged lineup. The only change was Ben Davies coming out of the game from the weekend against West Ham. Danny Rose coming in at left back, and it has transpired recently. Tottenham have announced on their Twitter account Ben Davies has suffered ligament damage, so he's going to be out for a while. Apparently, my friend who sat next to Ben Davies, Slav, you might know him, apparently he told Slav he's going to be out till February, but nothing's been confirmed, so that's just hearsay at the moment. But apparently, until February, he's going to be ruled out for. So that's a big blow for him after such an impressive first game, and in that role where in the asymmetrical fullbacks we were playing, he was playing that tucked in left-hand side, almost like a third centre-back when we're in possession. Aurier obviously charging down that right-hand side. Danny Rose is always going to be less suited to that role, and it did prove to be that because he did struggle a bit more. I think maybe if we put Vian Vertonghen on that side, that could work a bit better. But I had the idea of possibly putting Sessegnon on the left-hand side, putting Foyth as a third centre-back and pushing Sessegnon up. That could maybe be a way to go. But anyway, we saw the lineup. It was very unlike Tottenham. We haven't been used to unchanged lineups. And it actually didn't pay off for the first half, pretty much. The whole of the first half pretty much was one of the worst of the season. It was actually even worse than what we had seen under Pochettino this season, probably except for maybe the Brighton game. One of the worst first halves. And I think we were all over the place. We were Olympiakos were just sharper than us. They were playing around us. They were countering us. They were sitting deep and getting numbers forward. They were playing so quickly, and we were really struggling to create any sort of chances, any sort of penetration in their box. It was non-existent. There was no creativity. And the worst thing of all is when we did have possession, we were sloppy with it. We were playing sloppy passes, out of play. Davinson Sanchez must have played about 3 or 4 balls just straight out of play under no pressure in the first half. It was ridiculous. And both goals that we conceded both came from extremely sloppy pieces of play. Danny Rose really cheaply losing the ball. There was a high ball over the top. Danny Rose in full control. He puts a lazy leg out of it. It falls to Olympiakos player. He dribbles past Winks like he's not even there. Everyone's just watching him take a shot from 25 yards. Ends up in the corner. It's 1-0. The second didn't have to wait too much longer for that one. Dele Alli this time was the culprit, although he obviously improved throughout the game. He was a culprit for second goal, losing the ball cheaply in the centre of the park. He tried to track back and make up for his mistake. He ended up giving away a corner. That corner which led a flick on at the front post, and it was absolutely ridiculous how there was 3 or 4 players surrounding that Olympiakos player, and he was able to get in ahead of all of them and nip in like as if he was free, even though I counted at least 4 players around him. So I can't understand how Mourinho must have been absolutely fuming at what he was seeing. Tottenham looked like all of a sudden all of a sudden this was supposed to be the night we were supposed to qualify for the Champions League and go through to the knockouts. All of a sudden we look in the table and we're 2-0 down to Olympiakos. If we lose this game, and even if Bayern Munich, obviously they're winning at Red Star, we go into the last game knowing that if Olympiakos beat Red Star Belgrade and we lose to Bayern Munich, we're out the Champions League. All of a sudden we're in a bit of trouble. All of a sudden we're thinking we need to get a result here because we could be in real trouble if we lose this game, and which many people didn't really think about before the game. And all of a sudden Olympiakos were turning up. They actually looked like a half-decent team. But I think the crucial moment, obviously, has been much talked about. He made a change after half an hour, bringing off Eric Dyer, who was absolutely atrocious. And to be honest, when you're 2-0 down at home to a team like Olympiakos, when you need to turn it around and win, you need more attacking players. And it took a lot of balls and a lot of risks to do what he did, taking off the protection of Eric Dyer and putting on Christian Eriksen, who was much talked about before the game, whether he was committed to Spurs, whether he would select him. He wanted to see where his mind was at. He said he wanted to see where his heart is before he can select him. And I think he said in his post-match interview, Jose Mourinho, he wanted to play more progressive triangles. He wanted to get an extra player in between the midfield and the strikers. He said that there wasn't enough creativity, there wasn't enough movement there, and he needed an extra ball player in there, and that's why he took off Eric Dyer. It could have been an easy option to take off someone like Harry Winks and put Eriksen on and have that protection of Dyer, but he went all out. He said, look, we're 2-0 down. I have confidence in my players that we can take off one of our defensive players, put on another attacking player, and look less defensively vulnerable than we had done when we had a defensive player on the pitch. And that's exactly what happened. Even after Eriksen came on, we still could have easily conceded a third goal. Paulo, who had a bit of a dodgy game, in all honesty, looked a bit dodgy in that first half. He was flapping at a few crosses and it nearly cost us a third goal. Luckily, the ball fell our way. We didn't concede that third goal, and Spurs went on to score a goal right on the stroke of half-time, completely out of the blue. Very, very lucky. The defender, I can't remember his name, for Olympiakos, should have easily cleared that ball from Aurier. It wasn't a very good cross. It should have been most defenders, you're clearing that at the front post and you go into half-time 2-0 up. But luckily for us, it was a swing and a miss. The only time that happened. Dele Alli was there at the back post, the position that we know he loves so much, coming in late in the penalty area, finding those positions, being there, right place, right time. It was a poacher's goal. We know he's capable of that, and he hasn't been there for the past year or so, but he was there today. He got that goal, and it definitely seemed to spark something in the second half for us, because even after Eriksen coming on in those 15 minutes after, we still didn't look very creative. And we needed that shot in the arm of that goal just before half-time to kick us on. And once the second half kicked in, he must have given them a proper rollicking, because they came out with fire in their belly in the second half. Straight away, we were at Olympiakos. We were on the front foot, creating chances, looking like we were. It was only a matter of time before we scored. But it needed an assist from a ball boy, obviously, to get that second goal. He was quick thinking, passed it to Aurier very quickly, who was able to get Lucas in behind. And it was an easy pick out for Harry Kane to make it 2-2 on the night. And once we got that 2-2 result, it was interesting that we kept on going. We kept going for more goals, even knowing that a draw was probably good enough for us to qualify for the Champions League, knowing that I think Bayern Munich were 2-0 up at half-time against Red Star Belgrade, even knowing that we knew we had the quality on our side to go on and win this game. He did take off Lucas after an hour, which was fairly interesting, because I thought he was a threat to Olympiakos down that right-hand side. I thought he had the beating of their full-back. But maybe Jose saw that we needed some more protection on that right-hand side. Aurier was being exposed quite a bit. Their winger, Podense, who was more on the right-hand side but was floating in around the front, he was causing us trouble on the break. And Moussa Sissoko came on. He played on the wing. That's what we've seen him so far under Mourinho. We haven't seen him play in the centre midfield, which I think we might be seeing a lot of Moussa Sissoko on the wing. And it did give us a bit more protection. It gave us a bit more energy on that side. It gave us a bit more strength. And all of a sudden, we pretty much didn't concede any chances in that second half, even with a lack of protection in the centre midfield. Only Harry Winks. And it showed the bravery of Mourinho, and it really paid off. And we obviously got that third goal. Serge Aurier, who was given more freedom than he has been under Pochettino to stride forward. Although I would say he's been given more freedom, but he had obviously Pochettino liked his adventurous right backs, but he's almost playing like a right winger now, as opposed to a right back who's expected to get back in position as quickly as possible. It's not that case with Aurier, and now that's 1 assist and a goal in his first 2 games since Mourinho's come in, and it was a lovely, brilliant executed finish. More creativity from Dele Alli, who was a real thorn in the side in the second half. Every time he got the ball, it looked like something was going to happen. It looked like he was going to cause a trick, and everything was coming off for him. They just found it so hard to deal with him, Olympiakos. And Dele Alli, bit of magic inside the penalty area on the left-hand side, got the cross in, flick on by Heung-min Son, and Aurier with a sweet strike with the outsider's foot just cut across the ball so sweetly. I was right behind it, and you could see the ball just swerve beautifully into the far corner, nestled into the back of the net, and we were 3-2 up. There were some suggestions, I don't know if you've seen on Twitter, that he spat at the Tottenham fans and told them to F off. I don't know, the pictures are inconclusive. There was a bit of spit that comes out of his mouth, but it comes after Harry Winks kind of jumps on his back, and you kind of see Aurier go like force forward like that, and something flies out of his mouth. Whether it was an intentional spit or not is neither here nor there. Then there was an accusation he told someone in the front row to F off. Obviously not F, but there were some accusations there. I think looking at the footage, it's unclear what he says. So I think all this conversation on Twitter is a bit unfounded, but anyway, that's Twitter for you. I'm not so sure if there's anything to look into that. I've seen it a number of times, and it would be a bonkers thing for him to just spit in the crowd and tell the fans to F off after scoring a goal after he's having a good game. So I don't think there's anything to that, but who knows? He's a pretty bonkers guy, Serge Aurier. He's punched a copper on the nose, so nearly didn't even get a work permit because of that. But after we went 3-2 up, it was pretty plain sailing from then on. It was very comfortable. Harry Kane added his second goal of the night after a lovely ball in from Christian Eriksen, a really good free kick, and that assist for Eriksen capped off a very good performance from him after coming on as a substitute. After a lot of criticism he's had, especially from this channel, since he obviously failed. He's rejected new contracts. He's expressed his desire to leave, and he really just hasn't been putting in the performances. But for me personally, I know for a lot of Tottenham fans on Twitter, if I don't know if that's saying much, that he's already gone for them, and they don't want to see him play for Spurs again. If he wants to sign a new contract for me and he wants to commit to this club, or even if he doesn't, but he's willing to put in performances for the remainder of his contract, I'm more open to it. But if he can put in more performances like that, it's a positive sign. Hopefully he signs. There's rumours he might be more open to signing a new contract, just like Toby and Jan. Apparently there's a lot of rumours flying around they're more open to signing contracts now. Jose Mourinho is in. That remains to be seen. But I think it's important we try and support him, because even though he wants to leave, I don't think he's performing badly on purpose. I think he's hit a really bad patch of form. He's lost a lot of confidence, and I think he can feel the negativity from the support from the fans about the whole situation. And I know that a lot of the fans are negative about the situation because he's expressed a desire to leave and they think he's down tools. But I think he's got that quality that he can change a game in a second. And if he can do that in a massive game, then I think I'd rather have him in the team than not in some situations. I think it's important that he knows his place, and maybe he is a squad player now and he's not an instant starter. And I think that's how it needs to be. I think Dele's putting in the performances anyway. But I think if he can contribute to substitute performances and coming on and providing key assists to the team and goals at crucial times, like he has done even last season at crucial times, last minute goals, he could be a crucial part to this team. So all is not lost with Eriksen for me. The one thing I would say is worrying from that attacking position is Lo Celso hasn't got any minutes yet under Jose Mourinho. He hasn't had any minutes, and that's a bit peculiar because he was just coming into the side in Pochettino's final few games. He was just starting to get more game time. He was just starting to get more settled after a long injury period and a long second-in period. It looked like he was starting to find his feet, and I feel like this appointment is setting him back a bit. That's what I worry about, and I said it before in my previous video. I worry for Lo Celso under Jose because I feel like he needed Pochettino to help him settle in. and I feel like bringing a new manager could unsettle him a bit more, and he could find it a bit harder to get a starting place. Hope I'm wrong. He obviously shown a lot of quality, but I just feel like why hasn't he even had a run out in this team in the first 2 games? I know it's only 2 games; it's still very early, but it's just a question mark. There's a question mark. Food for thought there. In terms of Harry Kane, what more could be said about this guy? 20 goals in 24 Champions League games, the fastest ever player to reach 20 Champions League goals. Let that sink in. Not one player in the history of the Champions League has reached 20 goals in a faster time than Harry Kane. And why, for one, I just love it when the trolls on Twitter get on his back and they start abusing him and giving all the big one on Twitter, because he just seems to prove him wrong every single time. One season, one day, he goes and wins the Golden Boot in his second season. Can't do it at international level, goes and wins the Golden Boot at the World Cup. Can't do it at Champions League. That was true. I remember that was Troop's biggest criticism when I did a video with him a couple of years back that he couldn't do it in the Champions League. Yet he's the quickest ever player to 20 goals in the Champions League. There's nothing this man can't do. He's absolutely brilliant striker, one of the best in England. Probably he's maybe even the best in England and one of the best in Europe. Although Lewandowski might have something to say about that in his current form. Jose said in his press conference, "Why would I need Zlatan when I have Harry Kane in the team?" And that says it all. We're just so lucky to have him. I'm so happy that even when he's not playing so well, he's still banging the goals. He's still getting good goal returns. He's still got good stats. He's still getting the numbers. And we've run out of superlatives to say for Harry Kane, but he just keeps breaking records, and he's now 3rd top goal scorer all time for Tottenham, and long may it continue for him. Obviously, we're now through to the knockout stages after the 4-2 win. I'm cautiously optimistic about how far we can go in this competition, because obviously we showed last season we have the players that have the know-how to grind out games, grind out results, and being able to go through the knockout rounds. We have the quality there, we know it, and now we have the manager who has the know-how to get through games properly, and in big games like Champions League finals, he has the experience to win these sort of games. So I don't know, I think teams won't want to play us. I know we finished 2nd, so we're going to be playing a team who finished 1st, which isn't ideal, but I'm confident that there are some teams that with us under Jose, with players like Harry Kane, Dele Alli finding a new lease of life, hopefully we might be a team to be feared. But anyway, that was your match review. Let us know in the comments below. What did you think of the game? Who was your man of the match? What do you think we deserved the win at the end of the day? You're still worried about our leaky defence? It did seem very open in that first 30 minutes, but are you happy with how things are going so far under Jose, or do you still think there are a lot of things he has to fix and hasn't fixed thus far? Let us know in the comments below. Like and subscribe if you like the content. And as always, come on you Spurs.